To God be the glory, absolutely. And God, to God be the glory. To God be the glory, absolutely. And God, to God be the glory, absolutely. And God. Yeah. What's going on? Good evening to you, Tyrone. Blessings to you. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Good evening. We're going to let a few people assemble. Come on in. As y'all can see, we got a guest tonight.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening.
Y'all come on and say something to my guest tonight. Make her feel welcome. Good evening there, Rose.
Good evening, Rose. Good evening, Tyrone.
Y'all make her feel welcome. She's such a stranger. Y'all got to do my sound check. Somebody let me know how we sound. Please, somebody let us know how we sound. Microphone check 1 2 1 2. My man, good to go. All right, appreciate you. Just gonna give a little bit more. All right, cool. Rose, appreciate that. We're just gonna give a few more moments, let some folk come on. Hopefully, we get a few more people in. What's going on there, Brother Boxdale? Blessings
Good
to
evening,
you.
Devon.
As we are waiting for others to assemble, those of you who are on, come on, let us know how your day was. How was your day today? Talk to us. Okay, I see the hearts going up. Come on. I see them. I see them. Yeah. Y'all let us know how y'all day was. I guess we can go ahead and get this thing crack a lacking. What you think?
Well, how was your day?
I slept 6 straight out.
Come on,
Hallelujah.
Devon. I'm
Hallelujah.
celebrating that for you.
Hallelujah. Yes, sir. That's what I'm talking about. My God.
I had a blessed day, thank God. All right, Rose.
That's what I'm talking about, Rose. But I had a wonderful day today.
I had a good
I
day
had a
too.
wonderful day. My day started early. Got up with the men. Um, we do this thing on every other Monday called Manna for Men, and so we get on from 6 o'clock to 6:15, and we had a very good session this morning.
Okay.
And then I went back to sleep. I was supposed to go to Hershey, Pennsylvania this morning for a nice brunch and breakfast. Nice brunch and breakfast
For
and
smart.
brunch. But we didn't make it. Somebody said they was tired. And guess what? I was glad she was tired because it helped me out.
Don't laugh at him, Devon.
It helped me
So I took off today because of course
out.
what?
Come on, I'm a do all that. You
I took off
overstepping your
today.
bounds.
I took off today. So I was tired. I was so tired. I was like, we need some rest. So when he climbed back in the bed, we just went back to sleep. So our day started a little later than we intended. Hey, Mother
Hey
Geraldine.
there, Mother dear. Blessings to you, Mother dear. Thank you for joining us. How was your day today, Mother dear? Yeah, so today my wife took off to spend the day with me because tomorrow is our actual wedding anniversary. That's good, Mother dear. Glad you
Hey,
had. Hey there,
hey,
Tondi.
Tondi.
And so tomorrow will be our wedding anniversary. I would We would be together, married together for 28 years on tomorrow.
Whoop
Yeah,
whoop.
28 years. And so she decided to hang out with me today because, tomorrow we'll be pretty much back to regular scheduled program. So thank you, Tondi. We'll be working. And so we just wanted to hang out with each other, have some have some fun. We so we slept in, got some good rest,
Yes.
and
Something we don't get to do very
yes,
often.
yes. So I was very appreciative that we was able to get some good rest.
Yes.
And then after that, we got up, started our day. We went to, you might as well say it was lunch. We went to lunch, hung out there. Then afterwards, we went, made a
To the
few
spa.
errands, and then we went and did something that the both of us could enjoy. She's starting to enjoy it. We went bowling, and she allows me to, have a little fun. So we had some fun there, and then we went and got our feet done. She done taught me into, you know, getting these dogs worked on. And these dogs be needing that work sometime. But so that was our day today. We had a really good day. And there's only a couple times out of the year that she actually loves me. And that's anniversary time and around her birthday. Good evening there, Pepper Watts.
Hey, Papa Watts.
Around her birthday when she, wants some money or something like that. So it's only a couple times of the year she loved me. Anniversary time and around her birthday.
Did y'all put y'all feet in the little?
No.
We go to it's a spa thing, spa area that we go to, and you can get like you can get pedicures, and you can kind of get like really nice pedicures, full works, massages, scrubs on your feet, everything, Rose. It's really nice. So yeah, but we didn't stick our feet in any fish.
And trust me, I needed all of it. I needed all of it. They had to get down on Myra's feet. Some of y'all might not know where that comes from, but they had to get down. They had to really put in work to get these dogs where they needed to be at. And so I'm grateful for their services. I'm grateful for what it is that they
Listen,
provide.
he talk a lot of trash. He's been getting his feet done for years. He loves it. He loves it.
You're not gonna come on here and make me look bad.
Don't try to show off with Devon and Tyrone and the other men that may be on here. But
don't
he loves it, Devon.
Don't
and
you
Tyrone.
come on here trying to make me look bad.
Come on, yes, Martin, Tyrone. That's for Martin.
I got to be on here after you, so don't you come on here.
You invited me.
Messing things up for me. Don't you do that. So come on, talk to the people. Holler at them. What you want to say to them?
I'm just happy to be here tonight. Just dialogue a little bit tonight. Of course, we are, as Pastor Marshall stated, we are celebrating 28 years of marriage. So it has been an interesting ride, to say the least. You can't be with someone for 28 years, and actually we've been together for probably about 32 years. We've been married for about 28. But you can't spend that amount of time with someone and not have experienced the ebbs and flows of what life brings. Tyrone said, how you put up with each other over 28 years? Tyrone, a lot of grace and mercy.
A lot of grace and mercy.
And that grace and mercy is covered in love. Because you have to love someone enough to extend grace and mercy. And I just want to say this too. In 28 years, you have to understand that there's a lot of, when I say ebbs and flows, I'm not talking about all bad things, because everybody some people can spend a long time in bad experiences. We all are going to have all kinds of experiences, no matter what. But within 28 years, there's a lot of growing that has taken place. And oftentimes, I don't know if anybody remembers that saying called growing pains. And so there's sometimes you may experience some uncomfortable situations as you are growing in life, because who I was when I met him at 17 is definitely not who I am at 51. Who he was at 22 is not who he is at 55. So, there's things that have changed over the years. There's, things that has transpired over the years, and there's a lot of mistakes that has happened over the years, and we had to learn from those particular mistakes along the way. But the object is, the key word that I stated is learn. You don't just go through things but you are supposed to learn from those particular experiences that you go through that help you become better people. And so my hope is that our latter will be greater than our former. What's wrong? Hey, Pastor Lady. Hey, Deacon Smooth. That's because we linked. You felt me in the spirit.
Whatever. Thank you, Pepper Watts. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Pepper Watts. Thank you.
And so, Tyrone, how did we put up with each other? Man, a lot of prayer.
Dad.
A lot of prayer.
God has to be the center of it all.
Yeah, a lot of God, of course. A lot of God, of course. A lot of prayer, a lot of love, and just, a lot of time maturing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One of the greatest assets that a relationship can have is maturity. The only thing is, when maturity is in place, you don't really know that it's maturity in place, because you just feel as though it's problems, it's circumstances, it's this, it's that. When the whole time it's maturity. You know what I'm saying? We are maturing. The 17-year-old that I met uh, was on her way already to being 18 years old. And that 18-year-old had aspirations to be 19 years old. And so with that, there were changes coming into play. And sometimes we are victims because we try to hold people to the person we met, and not understand that there's maturity that has to take place. And we have to grow with that maturity. And sometimes relationships hurt because one person refuses to mature.
Right.
And then they want to try to hold the other person from maturing because they don't want to mature. So that's what a lot of it was for us. So totally, I've been with her for 32 years and married to her for 28 years. What's crazy is she don't look like she could be old enough to be in a relationship
that long
for 32 years. She looked like, she'd been, we give about 15 years, but that's about it. But yeah, the young lady's been locked down since she's been 17.
That part.
I've been locked down since 22. And to God be the glory that we are in a place now where, we're seeing some good days.
Amen.
We're having some good times. And and I'm here for it. Yeah. I'm here for it.
We want all that smoke.
We want all that smoke.
We want all that smoke.
All this goodness that God is allowing us to experience. Yes. I want all this.
All of it.
Yes. Listen. Yes. Blood, sweat, and tears.
We sold some tears. We sold a lot of stuff to get to this point. And I think consistency and belief that there is better on the other side helps.
Yeah.
I believe it helps. And I also believe that you have to be willing to, one of my that's right, Devon, all that smoke. I want all that good smoke on the other side.
Thank you, Rose.
You have to be, one of my favorite words that I always like to tell couples because we do a lot of counseling and talking to couples now that we're in this latter part, is that you have to open up your capacity to be able to stretch sometimes and also to receive some things sometimes. Because if we, as Pastor Marshall said earlier, that, I'm not 17 and he's not 22 anymore. And so we had to have capacity enough to open up to forgiveness, acceptance, change, all the things that come along with growing, because anything that doesn't grow is what? Dead
or retarded. Yeah.
And so you have to be in a place of wanting to grow, and it has to be a two-person thing. One person can't want it and the other person does, because honestly, it'll never work. The two have to want it.
Real quick, before we go any further, I forgot, as we open up, our opening is to send up hearts. Hearts are our way of establishing that this is a room of love. We communicate in love. We may even disagree, but we do it in love. This is a mature setting. And so I just want to always set that atmosphere. So if you can, send up your hearts. For those of you that have the emojis, you can put the hearts in the chat or down at the bottom of your Facebook. Most people have hearts. And so we send up hearts. Hearts are our way of establishing, once again, that we flowing in love. But then I always want to make sure I send up hearts, because hearts is always my way of symbolizing that I'm appreciative of the love God has for us, how far God has brought us, how far God has allowed us to grow, and all the different blessings. And so if you will, can you do that for me? Can you? And I truly appreciate it if y'all can send up those hearts. I'm so grateful for that. But, tonight I brought the young lady on, allow her to, take over, because that's what she do. She take over things. Good evening there,
Good
Auntie.
evening,
Thank you
Auntie.
for joining us. And we had a great day today, Auntie. Um, so I'm gonna allow her to kind of flow and
And if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them, in the comments in the chat, and we'll answer them if you guys have any questions that you want to put in the comments. Because oftentimes I think people see us in a certain light, and oftentimes people have questions that they just never had an opportunity to ask. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask those
now
questions.
that's a great question,
What do you
Tyrone.
say?
I'm gonna allow her to
Meet
answer that
today.
first.
If y'all was to meet today, but knowing each other past, could y'all still hook up and get married? That's an interesting question, Tyrone, because I don't necessarily, well, if I met him, if I am who I am today, and I met him today, I wouldn't hold his past against him, because see, it's kind of hard because I know his growth and how he got to where he is. So I appreciate the process of watching him become who he has become. So I don't necessarily think that
Yes, you are.
no, you good, Tyrone.
Yes, you are. You're a troublemaker, Tyrone.
I don't necessarily think that I wouldn't. I think I probably could appreciate the maturity more now than I probably would have back then. So I thank God for where I am now, to be the person I am now, to be able to appreciate the growth of somebody like him from where he was to where he is now. So I probably would say, yeah, it could be a strong possibility. Absolutely.
And I would say yes, absolutely yes, because if I'm knowing her past, you know, I love the woman that she was. I love the woman that she was becoming, and I love the woman that she is now, and I love the woman that she's still growing into. And so, yeah, I definitely could meet her today, and I definitely could marry her. Absolutely. Good evening there,
Good evening,
Earlene.
Earlene. Yeah, I think it knowing context actually helps.
Hmm.
Knowing the backstory, because it shows you where a person was to where a person has come. So I think, and that's a very good question. I like that question, Tyrone. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I would definitely entertain him for sure.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, definitely.
Because he good on the eyes too. Come
Come on now. Come on now.
on
You
now.
can't have me
Come
on here
on now.
and you messing up my gangster. I can't do too much smiling and blushing. You
He
gotta
good on the eyes
you
too,
gotta
Tyrone. So he might have, caught me in that until I got to the
you
context.
know oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right, so so let me ask you a question. You know, as we put out there
Right, Tyrone. Right. Mhm.
you know, as been stated, met you at 17. Um, but what can you say about you from this vantage point of you today? What can you say about you at 17 versus you now?
Um, I think the 17-year-old me was just interested in just a relationship. Like when it comes to, you meaning you and I, correct? That's correct,
Hmm.
right? I think the 17-year-old I wasn't really so caught up in what necessarily the future looked like. It was just, young. You're young. You're 17. You meet a guy, you vibe, and you kind of, have fun. You talking and all those kind of things. You don't really see the future. You don't see marriage, children. You don't really see the now. Not to say at 17 you don't think about those things, because in my mindset I always figured, when I get older, get of a certain age, I'm gonna get married, have children, buy a home, the typical white picket fence with 2.5 kids and a dog, all those kind of things. So you do think that, but I didn't necessarily have that as one of the forefront things at 17 when I met you in dating. So my perspective on relationships grew as I matured in life. And so I think it was a matter of perspective, just dating, just having fun, just being a teenager.
Yeah. Yeah. And I definitely want to read this because this is kind of like this encapsulates a lot of basically those 32 years. It says a lot of grace and mercy and crawling, not always walking or talking, pain, sunshine and rain, tears, soul searching and compassion, lots of conversation. That's got to be love.
Mama Jardine, you are so wise. I
Yes.
couldn't have said that any better.
Yeah, you put that together right
That,
there,
yeah,
mother
that is
dear.
it right there.
You put that together because you see, I think a lot of times, and I ain't really want to get on tonight and do like this was a relationship counseling session. I wanted to get on and have some fun, but at the same time, it is what it is. But I think where many people rob themselves in relationships is because I go back to your word that you always use, capacity.
Mhm.
So many people are rigid when it comes to certain things. Like, when people look at their the girl that they getting at or the guy that they getting at, they picture her being this particular person
Mhm.
without really understanding that she is not the person a lot of times that you have in your head. A lot of times when you get with them, she may have characteristics or certain traits, but
Mhm.
she's not totally that person you have in your head.
Mhm.
And if you try to make her that person that you have in your head, a lot of times you're setting yourself up for failure.
Mhm.
Because most of the time, the people we have in our head is a fairy tale.
Right.
Because our mind will make this the perfect woman.
Mhm.
Like if she do this, then
Mhm.
she this. And let's say she do that. Let's say she's a brick house. You wanted her built a certain way, so she built that way. And so you go get her. She built that way. Every way you like her, she's your perfect shape, all of this. But her attitude is absolutely funky and crazy. You know what I'm saying? Are you just going to look at it like, okay, yeah, I'm done with her? Or is there some type of hope, glimmer, something there that shows you that that attitude is actually coming from a place of pain? It's not
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
her just being this
Mhm.
ridiculous person, but she's being this way because this is her defense mechanism. I think most people won't give people that grace, that
Right.
capacity.
Mhm.
They'll be rigid and like, oh yeah, I cut her loose, she got a bad attitude.
Mhm.
And we have to get in places and spaces where there's more than meets the eye.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I think in maturity, of course, where we are today, we see that. You know, when I saw the 17-year-old, I didn't necessarily see a wife. I wasn't even thinking on the
Right.
aspects of wife. I saw a beautiful young lady, you know what I'm saying, that I wanted to entertain in certain ways. Once I started to interact with her, she started to shape my view of her. She started to shift my view of her. And she started to now take this black and white picture and put some
Mhm.
color to it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I'm grateful that I did have capacity.
Mhm.
Even in a very immature state, I had capacity to accept you for who you were and to start growing, not fight your growth.
Mhm.
Even though sometimes your growth was intimidating, because even at a young age, I was immature.
Mhm.
So I didn't have a lot of things going on in the capacity of, my outlook on certain things. And so you were focused. You had certain things that you were absolutely, dogmatic about. And thank God I didn't try to stunt that. It kind of bothered me a little bit because
Mhm.
at first it was competitive.
Yeah.
First it was insecurities,
Mhm.
but then I started to see that no, this is actually an asset. This is a strength, and if I can find mine,
Right.
then I can be a better person as well.
Wow. That's
So
good.
yeah,
That's good. And
so
believe it
yeah,
or not, like some of the dynamics of
that's right, Pepper.
Amen, Pepper. some of the dynamics of relationships, and of course, we didn't intend to make this whole night about marriage, but at the same time, I think also too we can look at it from the perspective of any relationship,
Mm-hmm.
because friendships
Mm-hmm.
carry some of those same values, some of
Mm-hmm.
those same things of respect. And do you have enough capacity to allow your friendships to grow in certain ways that
Mm-hmm.
you allow, those around you, whether it's a family member, like those things can translate over into other areas of your life, because you as an individual often deal with who you are. Because just because I'm married, God says we are one. So there's some parts of our lives that we operate in a unified way. And then there's parts of me that have my own separate calling. He has his own separate gifts and callings. And so there's separatism in certain aspects of who we are as our individual selves.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I'm not in a place enough to love, respect, and honor and all these things to myself, how do I handle all the people around me? And how do I treat relationships? How do I treat a marriage? How do I treat my children? All those different areas. And so really it all goes back to, who are you?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't know who you are and you can't handle who you are, then how do you jump into a marriage to be with somebody else? Because all you're going to do is link up with somebody else who don't know who they are, and then we create a mess. And so now we have all these issues that clash and clash and clash. And so I would often say to people, deal with you first. Learn you first.
Yeah.
Find out what it is about you. If you a person that you're always in these friendships or relationships and they just don't seem to work, what is it about you? Because we often always want to point the finger at the other person. Even in marriages, we want to point, you the reason why I'm not that. No, deal with you.
Mm-hmm.
Deal with what your traumas are. Deal with what your issues are. Deal with what you feel about you.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that you lack concerning yourself?
Mm-hmm.
And so oftentimes we don't deal with those particular places. And so we can't parent right. We can't be in friendships right. We always talk about people. That's why I don't have no friends, because something. No, you don't have friends because of you. There's something that you have to deal with.
Wow. That's good. That's real good. Y'all still there? Because y'all kind of quiet on us tonight. We ain't want to do all the talking. We wanted some love back. But when you were saying that, right? And people not knowing themselves and blaming the other person, I think some people, it's hard for them to accept them.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Absolutely.
so everything is about blame, the blame game, because some people don't want to do the work that it takes for them to be better. So it's easy for me to blame it on the other person. You know what I'm saying? So when I say it's you, when very rarely it's just the other person. Let's just be real. Sometimes there are cases where it's the other person. It's absolutely other. But sometimes it can be the other person because of you. Let's take that a little. Sometimes it can be because sometimes we bring certain things out of people.
Okay.
Sometimes we can rub people the right way, and sometimes we can rub people the wrong way. And what happens when you rub people the wrong way, but you don't rub them wrong enough that they want to cancel the relationship, but at the same time they want to still not operate certain ways in the relationship. So they'll this is the topic for the night, Tyrone. I'm glad you asked, because I put this. That's the topic for tonight, 100 miles and running, because we got a lot of miles in already and we still running,
because some things you can't give up on. You got to keep going.
Yeah.
You feel like you've been in certain, and we mean, and this is relationships, period.
Yes.
Whether that's marriage, whether that's in friendships,
absolutely,
whether that's in your church relationship, whatever relationships that is, oftentimes we feel like, we either come to a dead end or there's something lacking, and there's some things that need to be figured out in the process, and everything is not for you to give up on.
Yeah. And, just to try to complete that thought real quick, when we rub people the wrong way, if we don't have a healthy understanding of relationship, some people will hang on even though they hanging on to something that
Mm-hmm.
really shouldn't be held on to.
Sure.
And so sometimes, yes, it's not them. It was you that put them in that place because you, like for instance, when we met, you sold me a picture.
Mm-hmm.
I fell for that picture. And then soon as it felt like you had me, the picture changed.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like I saw that person, so I'm thinking that person is still there. When the
Mm-hmm.
whole time, no, that was just a mirage. That was just, something fake that you was hanging up there to keep
Mm-hmm.
me looking at. But the
Mm-hmm.
real you now is being displayed.
Right.
And it's like, oh man, I want that person, but that person ain't coming back. And some people hold on to that because
That
they
person.
think that
Right.
person is
Mm-hmm.
there, but really they getting this person.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it takes them years to understand
Understand.
that, wow, the whole time it was this person. I kept thinking I was going to get to that person. I was looking
Mm-hmm.
for that person. I wanted to interact with that person. And
Mm-hmm.
many times we end up in relationship, friendships, business situations with people
Mm-hmm.
that many times, yes, it just was a waste of
Okay.
time, but it really wasn't always them. It was you. Sometimes you had certain things that you could have done, but you
Mm-hmm.
didn't. You had ways you could have matured, but you didn't.
Mm-hmm.
You kept trying to make it about them because you didn't want to do your
Your
part
will. Mm-hmm.
and keep blaming them, had them not wanting to do anything for you,
Mm-hmm.
which now had you using that as the crutch or
Rush.
the excuse.
Excuse.
When the only
Mm-hmm.
reason they wasn't doing these things for you is because you've been condemning them from the jump.
That's interesting.
So, so
So how do you determine? So let's touch this angle. How do you determine from, because everything is perspective. It's how you see it.
absolutely.
Listen at this perspective.
Hmm.
Perspective is how you view something. And so, for instance, as he stated, seeing it like Daphne said, representative. Like sometimes people can be a certain way. How do I shift my perspective and seeing that person as growing into a different them versus thinking that they are no longer representing who I thought they were?
I think it's a two
Because
way.
I think it can be two. It's perspective,
Hmm.
because there's sometimes we want to hold people to stay a certain way, and
Hmm.
that person may be outgrowing those clothes because they don't fit anymore.
Right.
So how do I give them enough capacity to grow? Because what I thought at 17 through my early 20s is not who I am at 51.
Right.
There's some things I don't want to do anymore. There's some things I don't want to experience or deal with. And
Hmm.
so I'm growing. I'm beyond that.
Hmm.
We're not there anymore. So we're growing to different places. So can we give even, and this is in all relationships, friendships, parenting, whatever, is can you give people enough capacity to be in that place? And especially in relationships, and especially as a marriage, because that's the place where we can't just pick up and say, "Oh, I don't want to be in this no more," because marriage takes on a different level because it's a covenant. See, when we make covenant, we have a different requirement
Mm.
when we dealing with
Good evening, Katila.
covenant.
Thank you for joining us.
Covenant requires us to move, do, say, act, and be differently
Yeah.
than any other relationship
Yeah.
because there's a covenant. I'm held to this covenant. We can walk away from a friendship all day long,
Yeah.
but even though we can walk away from a marriage, the marriage was created under covenant.
Yeah.
We didn't stand at an altar to say, I'm linking with this friend to be a friend. We stood at an altar to say we're making covenant with this person, whether it be a husband or a wife.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you said a lot in there, and one of the things where, like I said, your favorite word, capacity, and you were saying, how can we, change or shift the perspective? I think there's two ways of looking at that. Sometimes it starts with you. It's your
Mm-hmm.
perspective. And so sometimes, as you were stating, you can be locked into your perspective, but it shouldn't be a
The only.
eternal lock.
Mm-hmm.
It
Right,
should
permanent.
be a lock that can release
Mm-hmm.
and possibly be thrown away
Mm-hmm.
because, that's your perspective. And then the other way is, I believe the person has to show us some type of um, hope that there's a reason that I can shift my perspective,
Mm-hmm.
that my perspective can now grow with you and become another perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Because, so many times we have people who, are growing, but the perspective that I have works for me. So I want to keep you
Mm-hmm.
at this perspective, although you are growing, although you're maturing,
Maturing.
although
Mm-hmm.
you got you some more friends. I wanted you to stay my friend,
Mm-hmm.
because as long as you my friend, we are able to do these things when I want to do them. I can get what I need to get. But
Mm-hmm.
now that you have these friends, you're making time for them. Y'all doing different things than what
Mm-hmm.
we did. I wasn't even thinking about we could do this.
Right.
But now your new friend
Mm-hmm.
is now coming in the picture, and it's changing my perspective, and I'm seeing you mature, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't like it because I need this perspective,
Mm-hmm.
and so there's a two-way street
Street
on
turn.
that.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
um
Absolutely.
how was your day today, Katila? Tell us, how was your day? I think sometimes we give too much grace. Some people are not going to change, and it comes a point, that.
Oh,
Absolutely.
absolutely. And that's why I said earlier,
Good
I
evening,
talked about the
Ivory.
whole thing
Thank
about
you
the
for joining us.
growing.
How was your day, Ivory?
Like you have to give people capacity. You give them capacity to grow.
Mhm.
Everybody's not gonna grow. And so Deacon Smoot, the reality of it is what's not growing is dead. If it's not growing, if it's not moving in a progressive way, then that means it's dead. If it's nothing going on, nothing happening, then that means either it's crazy or it's dead. And so that means that I have to make a decision, because the grace in it is that I gave it capacity to grow.
Mhm.
And if it chose not to do
Good
that,
evening,
then
Andrea.
I have to make a choice on my end,
Blessings to you, Andrea. Thank you for joining us. How
because
was your
I've
day today,
already
Andrea?
done the 100 miles and running, and I've made a decision now that it's not happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's good, Katila.
Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, Deacon Smoot. And I think, yes, grace runs out. Yes, grace runs out in certain situations. But I think some of us, we have a grace meter. Like we sitting there like, all right, I done did enough. It's enough. And sometimes some people pull triggers early. Sometimes people pull triggers late, of course. But then some people don't pull triggers at all when they should. So, but I think, yeah,
Congrats, Ivory.
there can be in certain situations too much grace,
Yeah.
but I don't look at that, me personally, in the age that I am now. I don't always look at that as a bad thing. I look at that as a them problem and not a me problem,
Right.
because I gave you all the grace in the world to be able to change, take advantage of, not necessarily take advantage in a negative way, but take advantage of, now you can shift and turn, and we can reconcile, redeem, whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
But I've changed my perspective on too much grace, because, I would rather be guilty of doing too much of a good thing versus doing too much of a bad thing,
Mm-hmm.
or doing too little of a good
Bad
thing,
of a good thing.
because we always feel like I was a fool. No,
Mm-hmm.
no, that thing taught you the
Mm-hmm.
extent that somebody can take you,
Mm-hmm.
if you feel as though there was something that you was hanging on to.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy for me to sit there and say you were stupid, but
Right.
I wasn't in
Right.
it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not
Mm-hmm.
you. People sometimes make people feel bad about the hearts that they have.
Mm-hmm.
Some people have hearts that's bigger and deeper than others. Some people love harder than others. And we have to learn to accept us.
Right.
I love the
Right.
way I
I
love.
love.
And
Right.
so, yes, where my friend might would have cut you off the first this,
Mm-hmm.
that's not me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you the grace, the mercy,
Mm-hmm.
and this, that, and the other. And yeah, and so that may come with some criticism, some scrutiny, but I'm still me.
Yeah.
And I thank God that God has made me, that in a lot of ways, I'm not now worried about what people think.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it now allows me to be open
Mm-hmm.
to, love and to love in a
Mm-hmm.
certain way versus to
Mm-hmm.
be ready and anxious just to pull the trigger all the time.
But I
Well,
also think capacity is when we talk about perspective, because I want to go back to Tyron's question.
yes.
Capacity is in perspective, and everybody's capacity is different. My capacity may be here, where somebody else's grace capacity may be here.
Hmm.
So capacity is subjective. Is biased. It's biased to who? You. That's
Hmm.
what you are. That's what Deacon Smoot may be. That's what Tyron may be. That is contingent on you. Only you know what your capacity is.
Right.
And you're the only one know that I've stretched. I've done this. Somebody else may have done it here. Somebody else may have done it here. And so capacity is what you deem capacity is for you.
Absolutely. And that's a great part of knowing you.
Yes.
All right. So Tyron says, you know, well, it's hard to judge those young years, but if you marry at a mature age, shouldn't you expect them to be roughly the same person? Oh man, that I would say no,
No.
Tyron, because okay, you said it's hard to judge the young years. Cool, young years. But you said if we marry at a mature age. That's the part
That's the
that's
part.
getting me.
That's the part that's
At a
getting me
mature
at a
age,
mature
shouldn't you
age.
expect them to be
Mm-hmm.
roughly the same person? So if I'm marrying at a mature age, I'm thinking that I've already established that this person is mature as well. That I'm not just mature and I'm reaching for an immature person, but I'm reaching for a person that has shown me the maturity that I want to marry this person,
Mm-hmm.
and not a person that I'm marrying and knowing that it's going to be issues because they're immature.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So when I look at that question, I'm like, no, if we mature and we at a mature age, then yeah, I should have already seen some maturity from you
Mm-hmm.
versus this being those young years
Mm-hmm.
where yeah, it's a lot of
Sure.
immaturity.
And I think the problem I have with it is that maturity is not always contingent on age,
Right.
because we assume just because people are of a certain age that they are mature, and that's not true,
Bless you, Dante.
because there's some people that I know that are young and are way mature than some people that are my age.
Yeah.
And so I think we just naturally think that we should grow and
Yeah.
mature as we grow in age.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, everybody doesn't. So again, maturity is a perspective, because everybody doesn't always mature at the we could all be the same age and all of us see things differently, operate differently. We can look at people and say, they still doing that at this age?
Yeah.
Like that stuff we did when we were 19 and 18 years old. Like certain things I did at 17 and 18, I'm nowhere near going to do that stuff now,
Right.
because I'm not there anymore. I've grown in my
Absolutely.
life enough to realize that when I was young, I did some things, and now that I'm older, I'm in a different place in life because I've grown, I've learned, I've matured.
Right.
And so I think that part can be contingent on who you actually dealing with.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Rose, I absolutely agree with this right here. And I wanted to highlight this because I think this is what kills a lot of relationships, a lot of family dynamics, a lot of friendships, a lot of business relationships, a lot of the things that we do when we interact with other people. When we expect someone to treat us the way that we treat them. Now let me
Mm.
say this. We absolutely look for respect. Period. I'm never telling you to be in a situation where someone disrespecting you. But sometimes, and really most of the time, we get in certain things and there are people who are going to just do more because that's just who they are.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say me and you, we met today. Let's say I'm more financially secure than you.
Mm-hmm.
You're more intellectually secure than me. So that means you're going to be able to see things a lot different than I can because your mind is a little more developed and used to thinking in a certain capacity.
Mm-hmm.
So that means sometimes you're going to come up with most ideas,
Mm-hmm.
more of the ideas.
Right.
So
right.
it would be crazy of me to keep getting mad. You always got all the ideas.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
you are the person that has that.
Right.
And it would be crazy for you. Like you always want to pay. You always want to do. I'm the person, you know, that has that. Now,
Right.
if I'm trying to hold that over you, that's a different story. If
Right.
I'm trying to use that to pimp you, that's a different story.
Right.
But if I am like, no, I got this, you know, it's like it would be crazy. And I know that you don't have it.
Right.
And you trying to put yourself in a financial strait to prove something to me
Mm-hmm.
when no, I cover you in this.
Right.
You cover me in that.
Right.
And too many times
Right.
in friendships, because you know, I'm the person that can do certain things. The person who can't do certain things gets upset or feel intimidated.
Mm-hmm.
Then maybe I get with another person that I'm starting to befriend
Mm-hmm.
that can do what I can do, but even do more.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm, you know, locking in with this person and we rocking in a different way.
Right.
Now
right.
I'm not even mistreating you or not dealing with you,
Mm-hmm.
but because of your insecurity and your fears,
Right.
you feel like that, you know, now all of a sudden, because I got with this person, that, you know, I'm treating you greasy and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
When no, I'm still being a friend with you, but you offer me what you offer me.
Right.
This
right.
person offer me what they
Mm-hmm.
offer me.
Right.
And so I can't now start to shut off myself to this person because of your insecurities.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm being a friend in the capacities that I can be with you and with this person.
Right.
But most people
exactly.
start to shift and take stuff away or take stuff personal because people feel like you're supposed to love them this way or do this for them.
Mm-hmm.
When no, I'm doing what I do.
Right. Exactly.
I'm being who I am. That's the
Mm-hmm.
only way I can flow is who I am. And you're gonna have to stop trying to put parameters on me and
Mm-hmm.
and manipulating me
Mm-hmm.
and you know trying to control who I am because
Right.
a lot of times then I start feeling out of place and wacky because
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to love now
Right.
when all I have in me is the capacity to
To
love.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that make a lot of sense. That make a lot of sense. I think also too, when you think about, you know, Rose saying you can't expect someone to treat you the way that you treat them. I don't think you can expect someone to treat you the same because we, as you were stating certain things, we are different. We're different places and different paths. So I may not do like you said about me having intellectual, you having the money. We have different things, so we bring different things to friendship. And so then we can expect people to respect us. Like certain things we can expect. Like I don't expect that you're gonna disrespect me. I don't expect that you're gonna come in my house and steal. I don't expect like there are things that we can expect from friends. And if they do those things, then that's not my friend.
Yeah, we got different conversations.
But when it comes to the way that we handle treating people and the way that we have to accept people for where they are.
Yes.
And so just because I'm the friend that again he may have the money and I have the intellect, when we go out, he don't make me feel bad that I don't have money. So his thing is, no, I got you. Come on, let's go out. It's fine. I know you don't have it right now, but it's okay. Because there's other things I bring to the table. Whenever you call me and you need me to do something for you, every time you need paperwork done, I'm there. Every time you need me to help you fill out something, every time you got a business idea, who's there to help do the plan? So it goes hand in hand. It goes both ways. We are never going to be the exact same.
Right.
No friendship, no marriage, no relationship is exactly the exact same.
Exactly.
We doing everything the exact same way. We wake up the same way. We go to bed the same time. We do everything. Oh, you go to lunch at 11? Oh, I go to lunch at 11 too. Everything is not going to be the exact same thing. But we have to accept people for where they are.
Yeah.
If we deem people to be friends, and we got to accept what they bring to the table.
Yeah.
Other kind of treatment is outside of that, because then there's other kind of treatment that doesn't deem friendship at all.
Yeah.
But to be able to expect, so Rose, if there's other context to that, then that's totally different.
Yeah.
And we don't think alike. What somebody else think is what you may not be what you think. They may think it's okay for their kids to stay up till 10 o'clock and they have a TV in their room, you may think it's not okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that your friend is less of a friend because they do some things differently and they may not think like you think. But we have at least some commonalities that make us gel together where we can have a positive and productive relationship.
All right. Tyrone is kind of going where I was just getting ready to go far as I was gonna flip the rose thing, but Tyrone says, I think I think in a marriage each should try to match the energy somewhat. It may not be an even split, but the one shouldn't keep coming up short. And I kind of I kind of still I'm with it, but I'm not with it. I'm kind of on the fence with it.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I'm on the fence with it, because matching me again may be a mismatch because of what I bring to the table, because we are not the same people.
Exactly.
And we don't have the always the same capacity to think the same way. And so, like for me, what I was going to say about the rose thing, how I was going to flip it is like sometimes you just going to have to commit to being the friend to somebody in a season or maybe period that don't know how to be a friend. Like I'm friends with people that you may not consider them to be a good friend. Like there are people that's around that's gossipers. I still know how to be friends with a gossiper. I just don't give them a whole lot of stuff to gossip about. They may still gossip and talk about some stuff, but I don't feed them certain things. But yet and still I can still be friends with them. I'm friends with people that's liars. You know what I'm saying? So I understand that this may not be the truth what they telling me, and it may put me in a place where I got to investigate some of their stuff. You know what I'm saying? But you know, these are some of the things that come with sometimes having friendships, relationships, all of these things. Now, yes, some people can just cut that off. I ain't dealing with that. Cool. That might be you. But sometimes there are some people that cover other people because, you know, sometimes people not going to bring to the table what you are. The Bible had in a situation where he said, one was given 10, one was given 5, and one was given 1. Right. The one with the 10 maximized and got another 10. The one with the 5 maximized and got another 5. Now the 5 gave all of what he had to get the other 5. The 10 gave up, but the 5 still, when he got the 10 got the 20. So they was never even equal. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy for me to be the person that's sitting at 20 and trying to make the person at 10 feel like they're supposed to be at 20 when they started off at 5. I started off at 10. So we were already kind of away from each other. So sometimes I have to understand that in a relationship, if you giving me your all, then man, to God be the glory. We just gonna have to make up the difference. Right. You know what I'm saying? And where sometimes I think we miss what the person can be and what the person is because we pay so much attention to what they not. Right. We make what they not such a big thing. Right. Now, if they are not who they appear to be or what they should be and all of this type of stuff, then that should have been discovered in the dating process. You know, unfortunately, many of us marry before we actually learn about being equally yoked, about being you know, compatible and all these things. Many of us today are marrying for crazy reasons. And then when we get in the situation and find out that it was a crazy reason, now we want this person to all of a sudden be something different when that person can only be who they are. Oh, right, exactly. And so sometimes, again, going back to what we said earlier, sometimes it's me more than it's them, because they could be giving me their all, but because their all don't match my all, now I'm trying to discredit them. Right. When no, they giving me their all. Right, exactly. They giving me their all. And I have to somehow now try to make up the difference, because that's just the type of relationship we have. And so we might actually be able to work, because as long as you giving me your all, you know, you might be giving me the 80, but I'm beefing about the 20.
But see, that's where conversation comes in, because because like Tyrone said about matching energy and coming up short, what is coming up short?
Yes.
What is that? Go back to Deacon Smoot comment, because that was a good comment. What is coming up short? What is that? What is matching energy? Because everything is not going to match 100%. Things I do, he don't do.
Mm-hmm.
But things he do, I like that he did. So it's like what we may match in certain areas, but we still have a connectivity to us that still meshes us to a point where we're growing to certain places. So if I'm coming up short, what does coming up short mean? So that means that there needs to be a conversation about what that looks like. Because if I'm, again, like you said, I may be discrediting the person for something else when they are giving me their all in all. And then Pepper Watts said about the 50-50. Well, I don't want nobody to give me 50% of them. Give me 100.
Yes.
I don't want that. We don't come fit. Don't give me. So that means you're gonna come and say, all right, I'm gonna keep all of this over here, and I'm only gonna give you this.
Right.
No, if you're gonna come, bring it all. Let's bring it, especially meaning in a marriage.
Yes. A
marriage is I'm throwing everything in. 100% of me, 100% of you. There's no splitting half and half.
And most of the time we bring skewed views into our situations and then wonder why our situations don't work. But Deacon Smoot said, I don't want to be in a friendship with anyone that's like me. I love what others bring.
bring.
And that's wonderful because I'm celebrating diversity. I can appreciate difference. I can even applaud that somebody may be greater than me.
Yes.
Somebody may have more. Because if you always the sharpest knife in your circle, then you might be in the wrong circle. You need something that's going to push you. You need something that's going to show you that there's another level. If you're the only person that establishes the level, then many times you may be missing the fact that there's other levels.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And so I want to be around people who bring out of me certain things that I never thought was in me or that I was even capable of doing. You know what I'm saying? Being in ministry, I never wanted to be a pastor. Never wanted. That wasn't my desire. But being a pastor has brought out so much in me that it's like, wow, it's a whole new world per se, since becoming a pastor. You know what I mean? And so I didn't know that God had all of this for me, but it was wrapped up in this. So I was refusing all of this because I wanted to just stay either comfortable or be in a place that I can control. You know what I'm saying? And so, yes, now that I am around differences and it takes all kinds. You know what I'm saying? I was saying Sunday how most people will shut off. I can't learn nothing from a crackhead. A crackhead can't tell me nothing. The devil is a liar. You can learn from anyone.
Anybody.
There used to be a commercial that said you can learn a lot from a dummy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, when you shut off different ways that information can come to you, education can come to you, maturity can come to you, you setting yourself up to be a failure. And so, I love being around people who can bring out difference. Like Dante always brings about these quotes that he has. It's almost like he's sitting there with different books. I got this one for him. Because look at this. He said, you can't expect the lion to not eat you simply because you are a vegetarian. He's not a vegetarian.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Just because you are. You know what I'm saying? And so perspective. Yes. You know what I'm saying? So I love that. Rose says, I get what you're saying, sister, but I think both persons should be given 100% of their self. There you go, Rose. Yes, indeed. Is that a part of the equally yoked conversation? Yes, sir, Dante, all day long. And see, Dante, even with the equally yoked situation, we know that that's in a spiritual context. He said they shall leave and cleave. They shall leave and cleave. So that means two individuals leave in situations that, yes, they were comfortable with, that they had certain things, and now trying to use both experiences to bring the two of them together to bring about a harmony where they become one. So we are becoming one. We keep wanting people to be one and we just met them, or we only been in marriage
Right,
for a year.
right, right.
No, we becoming one.
Mm-hmm.
And if I keep trying to make you know, the whole person now, and we're gonna be together
For
25
25
years,
years.
we're gonna
Right.
be we
I'd
gonna
be in
be
trouble
trouble,
if I don't
because
get
that means you ain't
capacity.
getting no more growth.
Right,
I get
exactly.
it all in the
Exactly.
beginning, and now I don't get to appreciate the maturity. I don't get to
Right.
appreciate, like, I get, once I say I do to you, now you gotta give me all the gray hair. Now you
Right.
gotta give me all of the different. Come on,
All of
man.
it come with it.
Come
And
on,
the
man.
equally yoked thing is, when you think about the animals and how, you're pulling and things going, it's just meaning they're going in the same direction. They may not be going at the same pace. So can you give somebody enough space to enough capacity that you may be here, like when you wrangle up the cattle? They're all going in the same direction, but you got some here, you got some here, you got some here, you got some here, although they're going in the same direction. So it doesn't mean we're not headed in the same direction. The pendulum scale just may not be tipped. It just may be tipped a little bit different. That's all.
All right, so you might well
Okay, I
have to
get you, Pepper Watts. Right.
you might well have to clean that up for me, Tyrone. I'm trying to read this right here. Say, for example, every birthday, your $5 gift versus the other going out their way, or the person not even taking time to get to know you versus the other making it their business to learn you.
And I
Yeah,
kind of
I
get what
kind
you're
of get
saying,
that. Yeah, yeah,
but I
yeah.
also think that's a matter of love language.
Yes, yes.
Because
Communication, love language.
because
Yes.
a person that's giving the gift and thoughtfulness, that may be your love language.
Yes.
And the other person love language may not be gift giving. See, that's a love language thing right there, especially in a marriage. If that's in a relationship and in a marriage, marriage operates on how you deal with your love language.
Yeah.
We love each other differently. So I'll give you an example, Tyrone, and I hope this example helps. Let's talk about just he and I love language. My love language is what?
Is acts of service.
Right. His love language is affection. So we were operating opposite of our love language. So listen at this. My love language, what I like is acts of service. Like, I like for you to do small things for me. I was giving him acts of service. So I was operating to him in the language that I wanted to receive. He is affectionate. He's always touchy feel, giving affection because that's what he wanted. He likes affection. So we were operating opposite of our love language, if that makes sense. And oftentimes we operate opposite of what it is that we want. We give what we want instead of telling the person, this is what I love and this is what I would like to receive. But instead of telling them what I want to receive, we give what we want to receive on the opposite.
Thinking they're going to give it
back.
Thinking
they're going to give it back
just
when they don't
principle.
operate out that way. We
when
operate
your mind
in different
don't
love
even
languages.
think in that lane. Some people don't think in the lane that you do. I'll give my example. Like my wife would feel some type of way when she come in. It could be one fork in the sink and it drive her crazy. For me, it's just one fork in the sink.
There you go, Devon.
It's one fork in the sink. Hey, most of the sink is clear. It's just one fork. But it upsets her. It puts her in a certain place. And so I don't think in the capacity that she do. So it don't bother me. I'm going about my day, moving around. But to her now, it done shut her down. Things is different. Her mind in a different place, and all of these things. And so she would then start to shut down. I'm wondering what in the world is going on. And all I can see is one fork. But I didn't think I didn't think I didn't think in the capacity that this fork really meant so much to her. That's not even my thought pattern.
Right.
So once she started to have a conversation with me, I started to be able to recognize now that, oh, okay, yeah. I gotta do, because this really, really means something to her. And sometimes we have to have conversations you know, even though they may be tough situations, and we may have these conversations more than one time. We can't just figure they should have got it. I said it to them. Yeah, you said it to them 15 years ago,
Right.
5 years ago, 5 months ago. Sometimes you're gonna have they need to know how serious this is to you.
Right.
The fork wasn't serious to me, but it was serious to her. So she had to keep reiterating to me that this is serious to me
Right.
in order for me to understand how serious it is. And then she had to understand where my mentality came from, that it couldn't always be me dominating you with my thought process, but I had to also give in to the fact you think this way. Because if I just pull you over to me, then I'm taking you from being you.
Right.
I have to leave you with the capacity to be you.
Right.
I have to understand that there's going to be certain times and situations that you don't think like. So today I might give you a $500 gift and you gave me a $5 gift.
Right.
Why can't I celebrate the fact that you did think of me? You gave it was $5, but you thought about me. You could have just kept it moving, but you gave me a gift. You gave it to me with a smile. You said you love me, so I'm going to accept this gift like it's my $500 gift. But most people know they'll be like, I went out, I did all of this, and all you gave me was a $5 gift. We gotta stop sometimes, especially if the person is trying, if the person is doing things, if the person is coming to the plate with something. They may not come to the plate the way you do. They may not think in the capacity that you do. You know, and so sometimes we got to take some of that charge off of them.
Right.
Sometimes we got to put some of that on us that, you know, I want what I give, when every time you ain't gonna get what you give.
Absolutely not. Deacon Smooth said a lot of times we marry people thinking the paper is going to change things. You know who you marry, especially if you've been with them a minute.
Yes.
Yeah, the paper doesn't change, the behavior should change.
Yeah.
Like there's some things that should change. Again, if you're not growing, it's retarded and dying.
Yeah.
So it should be progressing, whether that's friendships or whatever the relationship, whatever you bring to the table in whatever relationship you're in, it should be progressing. Even though we may be different, even though there's things like I said about the example of the herd and all that, we're still moving in the same direction. It's just somebody may not be moving as fast as the other, but we still keeping up. We moving. We're progressing.
Amen.
And so the object is to progress. And we have to give people capacity enough to progress. Yeah. Let's focus on cheap gift, but more or so how you gauge appreciation or respect.
But see, but then we change the narrative, because the gift can still be a reflection of appreciation and respect. I respect you enough to still give you a gift. You just don't appreciate it enough because it was $5.
Right.
So now you take away my, you know.
Deke said, my wife loved $5 gifts. Listen, I know look, I wanted to say, you know, listen, my husband will bring me a $5. See, I like acts of service. And so he can bring me I love, and if he knows this, I absolutely love the cards he bring, and I began to learn to love it because it was an act of service. He'll just give me a card and it'll have words written in it. It was $5, but it just meant so much because it had sentimental value to it. It was beautiful. I love the words and all that. So it was thoughtful, but it was $5, you know, but it meant something to me. And so I think it's the intent behind it, not necessarily the cost behind it.
Yeah. And Tyrone, I get you. I'm not trying to beat you up for what you're saying.
Right.
I'm just trying to give another perspective to it, you know, and I appreciate what it is that you're throwing out, because it gives a different way of going at things, because so many people struggle.
Yeah, that's good, Rose.
With these. So many people struggle with these. So, you know, but sometimes we injure the person when the person was actually trying to be open and loving us. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't appreciate your effort. And so now you don't get nothing because you didn't appreciate my something.
Right.
You kept gauging my something trying to make it seem like it always had to be better or match your something.
Right.
You know what I'm
right.
saying?
They're not always gonna
Yes,
match.
and see, Tyrone, I say this, right? Not specifically to you. I'm just saying because it was your scenario. Like, I used to feel some type of way with my wife because I'm touchy-feely, this, that, and the other. She's going to know that I love her because this is the way I show that I love her. I'm on her. I'm making sure there's a touch, there's some type of something. And many times I would judge her because those things I felt like wasn't coming back the way that I was giving them out, like she was saying in the scenario earlier. And so it started to make me respond a certain way and make her respond a certain way, which started to create a wedge between the both of us. And then we get to a place that we're not doing anything because if she do something, it ain't good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And if I do, and if, you know what I'm saying, I say something, then I'm always putting her down, which in reality I was putting her down, not realizing that I'm not even appreciating what she's doing.
Right.
And
right.
so, you know, sometimes I had to understand that she ain't gonna match what I do because what I do comes from me.
Mm-hmm.
So if I want to just hug on you, I'm gonna just hug on you, whether you're gonna hug me or not. I'm gonna say I love you, whether you're gonna say I love you or not. I don't say I love you to hear you say I love you too. I say I love you because I love you. I want you to know that I love you. I know that she loves me. So she don't necessarily have to repeat it back. You know, when I hug her, she don't necessarily have to hug me back. Sometimes I hug in an angle that she can't hug me back. You know, in the morning, you know, I started to make sure I kiss her before I leave because it's not no guarantee that I'm coming back in those doors. You know, every time I come back in those doors, it's a blessing. God has blessed us to be back home safely. So I kiss her. Guess what? After a while, she started kissing me. You know what I'm saying? We taught our kids when we leave the house, anoint yourselves before you leave out. But, you know, all of these things started to come after you just do them. After you just keep doing them, next thing you know, things started to grow and become things because I didn't make it a thing, you know, where at first I was like, get back here and anoint yourself. Don't you leave this house, this is that. So sometimes they don't want to do nothing because you trying to force it
Right.
instead of just allowing it to materialize. So, you know, so yeah. Rose say the small things mean a lot to me. Yes, because they were thinking of me. I'd be happy with my favorite candy, a card, that peppermint soap, or something that person knows I like. Absolutely, Rose. Absolutely. You know, and see, it's the small things that build up to big things. And I'm not pointing a finger at anyone, but we are crazy if we think a relationship gonna be a whole bunch of big things. A person just gonna always wow us. Mm-hmm. No, sometimes we gotta learn how to appreciate who they are, what they bring to the table, and appreciate it. Because sometimes that opens them up for more. Mm-hmm. Next thing you know, they'll start doing more because you appreciated this, because there was no kickback, there was no funny look, there was no, you know, I saw you just throw it on the table or something like that. There you go. Yeah. You know what I mean? So this was good, y'all. This was real good tonight. This is real good. Anybody got anything else to say before we leave? I don't get her on here that much, so you're going to have to come on and get all you can get because I don't know the next time she'll be on here. So, you know, if y'all good, we good. You know, y'all say something to the lady since, you know, she ain't been on in so long. Y'all let her know, you know what I mean, that she missed love, whatever the case may be.
You just saying that so you can get me back on soon.
Thank you, Andrea.
It was nice being on with you guys. I'll be back soon.
She always say that. And her soon is a year later. 8-9 months in between, even though it's all good. It's all good.
I love you too, Deacon Smooth.
No, did you see that? You know, it ain't just you on here, but we
you told him to say something to me.
Okay. You see what she came back with, right? Always trying to
Thank you,
cover
Early.
cover for her.
God bless you, bros.
All right, so you got anything you want to
Nope.
part with? Um, you
Hey,
know,
D. Deke, I be on the sidelines listening.
yeah, she be listening. She ain't got no choice, Deep. I make sure she listen because I got it up loud, all of that. So she be listening on Sundays. Anybody that want to have some fun on Sundays, if you like house music, good clean house music set, good music, DJ Deke. You see his name in the comments section, Deke 1200. Well, Facebook might not be able to see him because he over on YouTube. So let me see if I can move you and see if I can put him up there. So it's Deke 1200 on YouTube. Go to it. I'm telling you, you will enjoy it. Each Sunday at 7 p.m. from 7 to 9. He's on there. Wonderful set. I mean, each Sunday he killing it. DJ Deep 1200 on YouTube. We recommend you to go to YouTube because Facebook do a lot of games with the music, the volume. If you play a certain song, they slow it up, make it fast, all that stuff, trying to do the copywriting and all that type of stuff. So if you're not doing anything on Sundays, DJ Deep 1200, 7 to 9, check them out. Tomorrow night, they weren't on tonight, but tomorrow night, the Fishers, Prophet Randall Fisher, will have on a beautiful young lady named Candace. And Candace will be on blessing people tomorrow night with her testimony and just different other things. This young lady is on fire. She's growing. And I think she's going to really offer the kingdom some wonderful things. So tomorrow, you want to go to Prophet Randall Fisher Ministries on Facebook at 8 p.m. You will find them on there. It's called Inspired to Love. And she'll be on, and it'll be, I'm guarantee you, it'll be wonderful. Also, tomorrow, I'm the guest host for Talk Tuesdays for Geraldine Taylor. So for those of you who follow Geraldine Taylor, tomorrow, I think it's scheduled either 7:30 or 8 o'clock for me. So I'll be the guest host on, and we are going to have a crazy show tomorrow. You can go to Geraldine Taylor's page, and tomorrow we're going to have some fun.
Oh, thank you, Daph. I love you, Daph.
Oh, Daph, that was good. All right, good folks. Love y'all much. Thank y'all for joining us. I know we went over tonight, but I couldn't let her just get off easy. Thank you,
God bless you,
Katila.
Katila.
So, we don't know the next time we see her, so we had to get as much as we could. But I love you there, Shorty.
I love you too.
Happy anniversary.
Happy
Tomorrow
anniversary.
will be our 20, for those who came on late, tomorrow will be our 28th wedding anniversary. And so this is one of the reasons she's on tonight, because we hung out all day together. And so, yes, we'll be.
It was good, OT. That's all right. That's all right, Diggerswood. I know
we'll
that's
be celebrating 28 years of marriage.
Yeah.
To God be the glory
To
for the
God
great things he has done.
Amen. I leave you with this. Life has ebbs and flows. Life comes with good and bad. Life comes with ins and outs. Life comes with a variable of experiences, situations, and circumstances. The topic tonight was 100 miles and running. You make a choice on who gets to have access to you. You get to make a choice on who gets to have access to the progression of your life. There's some people that do need to drop off because they are not benefiting the progression of your life. There's some people that are in your life to teach you something, although it may look like a negative experience. They'll stay until you get what it is that you need to learn from them, and then they'll drop off. And then there's other people that's going to be in it for the long haul. And then when it comes to the perspective of marriage, sometimes we give up before the breakthrough comes. And for somebody, not for everybody, because there's some things that need to be cut. And there's some things that need to keep going because there's greater on the other side. May your latter be greater than your former. Yeah. Amen.
Amen. Amen. All right, good folks. I appreciate y'all. Y'all gotta hear my my theme music. My theme music, y'all, was put together by my good friend DJ Deep 1200. Thank you, Deep, for my theme music. That's yours truly. That's yours truly.
Come on, D.
Y'all know what time it is. Yeah.